Hey guys, how are you? This is Jeff, and just before it's like 10 minutes to 5 on Friday, and before I head home for the weekend, I wanted to just make a video here because I wanted to jump on in about what everyone's talking about this depth year. I love the idea of going deep, man. I love deep conversations. Parties generally, I really don't enjoy going to because it's always sort of limited to how you doing, nice weather, it's cold as hell in LA, how about the traffic, all this stuff. I can't stand that surface stuff, man. I mean, I can survive in that sort of environment, but I really enjoy sitting down with some candle or just some wine or some bourbon or whatever, and then just talking and getting deep with somebody. So I want to do that with you guys about what I'm all about this year, all about coming into 2019. I want to share with you how I have already, and we're only on day, I think, 39 or something like that of the new year, about just how increase of vision has occurred to me because I'm involved in a program that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I want to preface that. I want to share with you guys just my passion for getting deep and following your stories about how you're getting deep with your own particular journeys. For me, it is about increasing my attractor field. It's about raising my consciousness. I was introduced to this idea many, many years ago, and I brought out the book. I had mentioned it before. It's by David Hawkins. It's about power versus force. This is the guy, I'm sure he didn't initiate it, but he sort of made it really, really popular. The idea of kinesiological testing emotions and consciousness levels, and that those that are able to raise their frequency, raise their consciousness, and again, this is measurable, guys. You can use muscle testing to get an exact number. I'm not going to show you the chart because I feel like I'm going to be doing a whole series of these videos on this power versus force in my program later. But you got to trust me, when you can quantify something as like an emotion, it becomes very, very exciting for me because we're not just talking about some sort of esoteric science of believability and maybe something's out there and blah, blah, blah. It is an absolute fact that you can measure it and get data from it, and that absolutely turns me on. So this power versus force is all about explaining the frequencies and vibrations of your attractor patterns. Now, if you've seen my videos on this channel, you know I'm a big fan of this emotional guidance scale made popular by the Abraham material. There's also, these scales are all over the internet. I just sort of made it up on my own little thing right here. I'm not taking credit for this, but these are kinesiologically, quantifiably different levels of conscious states depending on where you happen to be. Now, the videos are like using your thoughts to feel better about a situation. Then you attract a different future about that particular situation. This book, Power versus Force, introduces the idea that just to sort of raise your baseline on one aspect of your life and hold it there, it raises all the other aspects. And then you begin to really, really see your intentions taking three-dimensional form, you know, so much more effectively, so much more on purpose, rather than just sort of hoping to get lucky or praying for an outcome or, you know, hoping that fate or destiny sort of works out in your favor. This year, 2019, for me, is all about raising my vibration. It is about permanently getting the set point higher so that I can have more positive expectations about what I desire. And as it has already proven for me, only on day, 39, I think it is, of the new year, it is just remarkable the ideas that start to percolate whenever you're in more of a higher emotional state about your life, your finances, your relationship, anything that you want. You raise that set point and everything sort of comes in at that higher frequency. Now, this book was, I think, gifted to me years ago, and I can't remember when, I don't remember by who, but there was a part, I'm going to read this for you. It's just one paragraph, so bear with me, okay? Because I was so excited about checking out the charts and the data as far as where people's consciousness and their level of being able to see and create seeming miracles in their life is all about just kind of getting that base of vibration, more set high in yourself, okay? And I'm going to read this quote for you that's going to lead into what the rest of this conversation, this depth of year for me is what it's all about. It's just one little paragraph here, and that just stuck with me, and it prompted my next step, which I'll get to in just a second. Now, when somebody suddenly goes from influence of a lower attractive field or attractor field to that of a higher one, it's often acclaimed as a miracle. The unfortunate verdict of human experience is that few escape the energy fields that gradually come to dominate their behaviors. Now, that part there, I'm going to make a little stop right there. This is something that I see as a hypnotherapist all the time. People come in to change their attractor fields. They need to come in to drop the lower feeling emotional state about whatever situation that they're in, begin to raise their expectancy that they can get up and they can stop smoking, or they can do public speaking, they can get on a plane again, they can get back on the horse again if they fall down, literally. And so that rings so familiar to me that people kind of get stuck of their regular same old attractor fields. And then it goes on to say like this: a current popular spiritual program designed to facilitate such an escape of the regular attractor fields is A Course in Miracles. The purpose of this course of spiritual psychology is to prepare the necessary groundwork to participate a sudden jump in consciousness through encouraging a total change in perception. Now, that stuck with me. I circled it so many years ago. I revisited this book many years ago, and I just happened to come across page 267, and I saw it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to check out what this Course in Miracles thing is all about. I had no idea. It was around Christmas time, so I had asked Santa Claus to put it on my Christmas list, and it came. And then this honking, masterful, incredibly, this book weighs like 37 pounds, guys. It's just so dense and so thick. It sat around my house for years before I actually began to pick it up and touch it. After a couple years after reading this, I got this course. I began to read it, and it just wasn't speaking to me because I wasn't understanding the metaphors that they were using. This book is channeled material, and it uses a lot of the old metaphors that so many of us have such negative associations with, that we associate with like religious contexts. It uses, rather than saying Holy Spirit, it actually says, or higher self, it says that the Holy Spirit, when it references the Holy Spirit, it's actually referencing to your higher self. It uses the word God a lot, which turns a lot of people off, and that's unfortunate because all that is the creator of that which we see as the physical universe. And it goes on and on and on about the sonship being other human beings. A lot of people just go straight into this is just a book about religion. That's not what it is. But like I said, it was so dense, so thick, not an easy read, man. You don't put that in the toilet and sort of flip through that whenever you're doing your business. It is like a sit down, concentrate, and it is so rewarding. But I couldn't get to it. It was too thick. It was too tense. And look at it. It was intimidating as hell, man. That is some small print. Let me tell you something. I came across this. Actually, I gifted this book, this very book, to somebody else because I had heard so much about it. This is called The Disappearance of the Universe. And it's about experiences of this Gary Renard guy, the guy that authored it. He got visited by Ascended Masters because I love the Ascended Masters, and that entire realm is fascinating. But this book spoke to me because it really got to the mystery of time, which hopefully I'm going to get to a little bit later in this video. The mystery of time unfolds a little bit more whenever you begin to understand the disappearance of the universe and what that actually means, and then obviously what this entire book is aimed at getting you through is to have the universe disappear for you. I'm going to hopefully explain that in a little bit. But this book was a fantastic, and I didn't even know that it was almost like a preface to this. Totally not authors the same at all, but the masters that came to visit with this Gary Renard guy right there, they used the language of A Course in Miracles and referred to this particular course. It's a 365 lesson course that you go to raise permanently your vibration. I mean, the stories I've already heard on the internet and the people that I know that have go through and maintain this course, it's remarkable. It truly is miraculous. So this book, before I go way too crazy, just uses the verbiage and actually uses a lot of quotes from A Course in Miracles. And that actually got me introduced to the idea that these are just metaphors in here, because this book really sort of lays it out. That if you're down with just raising your consciousness, if you wanted to get out of this cycle of reincarnation and join the masters, the ascended masters, to be able to just have your soul's journey, not have a need for the physical universe to experience, and to learn the lessons of, as they say, getting over guilt and forgiveness. Those two things, it's really all about what soul's journeys are about, is just forgiveness, because you're forgiving another part of yourself. So that's, oh my God, guys, it goes so deep. It goes so crazy. It's so delicious. This book introduced me to A Course in Miracles in a brand new way. It made it relatable to me. It has helped my tarot practice tremendously. It's helped intuition tremendously. You know, I'm not all about being like that psychic reader guy. I'm really not. But the levels of insight go so much deeper. This is only after like 30-some days of doing this basic. It's only a couple minutes each day. The lessons in the back of this book. It is tremendous, the information that bubbles up from what I've known and I've had experience with the tarot cards for, the past 20 years almost. So I'm going to continue my journey of this Course in Miracles, and I'm going to share some of it with you if you have any interest. I might actually do a new playlist called the ACIM, which is sort of like the code, ACIM, A Course in Miracles, where I can just talk about this book more free and how it relates to the tarot and how it has helped dramatically me being such a much better card reader than I've ever been in my life because of it. And so that is what my depth year is about, is to facilitate my rising of my vibration, increasing my attractor fields so that I can live more on the edge of my intention when there is a desire. And I'm telling you guys, it is, the more you get into this book, the more you get into sort of kind of how important frequency is, the more attached, the more hooked, the more addicted you are to just wanting to assist other people, because the level of that love that you feel in understanding that dynamic of the teacher and the student, or the giver and the receiver, is that it's the exact same energy transfer regardless of what part you happen to be playing at that time. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. It's helping me so much with both my business and my tarot practice. And The Disappearance of the Universe, if you have any interest at all, this is the book to go to introduce you to the language and the messages of this. If you wanted to skyrocket your intuition, I believe for me, this is the best way to go about it. It's not the least bit in your face about a particular belief system. It's just laying out what this other sort of belief system is all about. And I'll tell you what, guys, once you sync up in the basic premise that we are all connected, and when you treat someone else in a way, it's literally you're treating yourself in that way. And that's all this book does, all right? All this entire process does. So if you're down with feeling great, if you're down with just attracting the futures that you desire most, if you're down with becoming the best intuitive reader that you can possibly imagine yourself to being, may I introduce you to this concept of power versus force, the disappearance of the universe, and A Course in Miracles to get you there. Because like I said, I'm brand new starting into it, and it has paid off in spades. I can't wait to pick up this book again at the end of every single day to go forward in the next chapter. And yeah, man, if you don't know the emotional guidance scale, this is how you best help yourself to be able to find these avenues at the next higher frequency, all right? So thank you for viewing. I look forward to catching up more on your updates to Depth Year. This is my Depth Year guy, is to share with you how exciting it is to raise your vibe and then just have these wonderfully unexpected expectations come into play. I mean, the things that are falling into line for me just over the past month, because I've started this on January 1st on lesson 1, it is truly remarkable. So stay tuned for updates on that with a lot more tarot talk. And hey, I thank you for watching, and I'll certainly take any questions below. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. All right, bye.